Hey friends. So I had something show up yesterday that I've been mulling over, and that really, I hope you can't hear that leaf blower. Of course, he decided to come here right when I start my video post. So there's something that came up in my teaching yesterday, and also in my, it was related to something that came up in my previous teacher training session, which was, yesterday I was teaching a student, and I was essentially kind of, I can't speak for her, but I think I was kind of giving her a similar experience to the one I had on Monday in my lesson with Madeline, which was an experience of being repeatedly interrupted and feeling my own impulse, my own kind of forward movement, my locking into my pattern of how I play, continuously frustrated. And that builds up, a certain amount of emotional frustration, at least on the surface of things. I spoke in my previous posts about how there's also a part of me that's capable of observing that, and therefore, ultimately, my experience isn't one of frustration, it's one of watching a pattern break down and watching a new pattern get built, which is very satisfying and very nourishing and inspiring. But there is a component of that process that involves continual frustration, and the more entrenched our pattern of how we think we should go, or how we are accustomed to going about something, the more entrenched that is, the more we're going to feel sort of unsettled and an immediate sense of frustration if someone keeps interrupting that and saying, no, stop. And so that's kind of what I was delivering yesterday, and I could tell it was kind of building something up in my student. She did a beautiful job navigating it, but I had that sense of being on the other end of the process, because I've received this frequently from Madeline, when she has to keep checking my habitual way of doing things because I'm not conscious of what I'm doing, and I'm ultimately, my approach is not going to work. It's not going to be effective at delivering the piece the way that I want to. So she has to do it, knowing that it's going to have an impact on me, and that there's going to be a certain amount of me surmounting an initial wave of frustration as that pattern gets broken. Anyway, so I had the flip side of that yesterday. And then towards the end of that lesson, I sensed that there was a bit of a conversation to be had about, okay, well, where is this student in music right now? And and she articulated to me a lot of what I've been saying on this post and in my lessons about feeling sort of clumsy at the piano and feeling kind of just like a feeling of like, oh God, am I any good? Do I actually know what I'm doing? Is this actually any good? And it was really interesting because I was almost able to anticipate where she was going. It's like I could see, as I was seeing my own recent experience kind of mirrored in my student. And so I immediately engaged, and I sort of like articulated where I have felt that I am recently, and I sensed immediately, okay, yeah, that's she's feeling this too. So it's almost like I was able to head off, or I don't think I was able to head it off, but I was able to immediately kind of meet this sense of where she was, not just in the immediate kind of process of what we were doing in the nitty-gritty of things, but in the overall picture. And as soon as I did that, as soon as I met her there and sort of articulated what she was feeling before she had even articulated it, because we were sharing this experience, it was like she immediately relaxed and settled into a kind of being okay with where we are in the process, and with where she is in the process, and with the kind of the experiences that come along with this learning process. And so what I extracted from that, then I was reflecting even sort of on that and on some of my experiences in the teacher training. There's a wonderful pianist and teacher in the teacher training program who's also going through kind of a struggle, because she was saying that her students come to her and share information about their lives, and they seem to be in these chaotic places in their lives, and she's not sure how to engage with that. She wasn't sure. She said, "I don't know that I'm good at relating to people in this way," but my actual sense of her is that she's actually quite excellent at relating to that. And I also recounted an experience of from my own life and with my wife, where we've both had the experience of processing things in our own life that have nothing to do with creativity or art or theater or music or anything, just like emotional stuff that comes up in our life, processing that, and then immediately, without anything else changing in our teaching, students beginning to open up and enter that space and share their struggles in these areas of life that we have recently gone to a new level of clarity with, or where we've recently processed some pain and come to terms with something. Immediately our students lean into us and say, "Oh, I have this." They share that. And so I was indicating to this teacher on the teacher training program that potentially part of the reason that her students are sharing this with her in this way and are leaning in to these areas of their life in their piano lessons is because this teacher actually has dealt with some of this stuff. She actually knows what it means to reckon with this, and she knows how to. Her students are bringing it to her because they sense that she can helpfully reflect to them about this. This is a scattershot of my recent experiences that all lead me to a place of recognition that what we are here to give our students is not, as we might think it might be, our talent and our skill and our competence, even our mastery. That's only a component of what we're here to give them. The almost more important component is our shared experience of the struggles that they are going to go through. Yes, there's a level of nitty-gritty. There's a level, and you kind of need that too. There's got to be this level of, here's where you are, here's what you're doing, here's where you need to go, right? There's got to be, if you can't offer that to a student, then you can't really lead them anywhere. But by and large, we've got that level covered. If not, they should be studying with a different teacher. And beyond that, though, in order to allow a student to helpfully engage with that nitty-gritty level, we've got to give them our shared experience of the struggle of that. If we can bring that into the lesson and bring that into the relationship, it's like the student learns to trust the frustration and trust even their own resistance. They learn to trust, not that they trust their own resistance, but that they trust that their own resistance is part of a process that's going somewhere, and that someone that they trust and who's like feeding their thoughts back to them clearly from a level of experience. They're able to say, "Oh, okay, it's normal. This is how it works. I believe that this is how it works. You're literally like reading my mind as to what I'm feeling right now, but you're telling me that we get beyond this and that this is part of it. Oh, thank God, because I thought I was way off track. I thought this frustration I was feeling was just meant that I was no good, or meant that I didn't have what it takes to be what he said to learn, or whatever. There's all these conclusions we can draw from the immediate experience of relentlessly frustrating our patterns. But a teacher sharing their experience of the struggle and relating to what that feels like, to what it looks like, to how it, to what it does to you. If we can relate that to our students, then we can really give them the gift of grace within what is ultimately an intense process. Learning anything on a deep level, mastering anything, is an intense process. It's reckoning with ourselves. It's reckoning with our patterns, our background, our karma, our family issues and programming. There's so much there. So having the wherewithal and having the kind of sense of, okay, what's called for here is for me to not just deliver a package of information about what you're supposed to be doing or how to get better, but breathe into the space a sense of, I get it. I get where you are. I feel where you are. And it's okay. And it's not forever. And it actually means you're on track. That's such a gift when a teacher can give us that. So that's what's showing up today, people. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you. Man, I'm learning a mile a minute, bringing these things into conversation and having some reflection from all of you. So much love. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.